Welcome back to another episode of OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. We are uncut, candid, raw, honest conversations. Why? Because it's easier that way. Life is simpler that way. So here I am today with a wonderful friend and an inspiring lady, Sally. Sally, welcome to OATS Uncut.
Thank you so much for having me.
I truly appreciate that you agreed to see me today because I know that you try to stay and do things behind the scenes, but it's important for people to know what she does and how she navigates. And I strongly believe in when you see something, do something, people like that accomplish. Sally, tell our viewers about you and what you do and this whole t-shirt.
So my name is Sally. I'm from National Charity League, and we have a chapter in North Jersey. Our chapter is called North Jersey Chapter, and we started it in probably 2021 of February. We chartered.
Wow. 4 years.
It's coming up 4 years.
Wow.
And it's a great organization. It's a mother-daughter organization, and we moved here from California, my daughter and I, and she missed volunteering with me, and there was no chapter here, and so she said, can we start one? And we started one here in Livingston.
How did you feel the need to introduce your children to charity? Why did you feel this need?
I feel we always have to give back, and I'm always a person who wants to give back to the community. And even when we lived in California, I was always volunteering, always behind the scene, never wanted it to, like, people are like, Sally, you did so much, can we just give you a parking space? Like, because they have, they just basically give you parking space for volunteering a lot or doing a lot. And it's like of the month, like volunteer of the month, I'm like, no, give it to somebody else. I really don't want it. I really don't need it. I appreciate it, but I just love volunteering and seeing the kids and helping them become who they are.
Actually, to everybody's information, it was very hard to get hold of her to come and do this with me today because Laurie, my very dear friend, talks very highly about Sally and talks about how very selflessly Sally has been pursuing NCL and inspiring her own children and so many other children. And like she said, she moved from California and there was no NCL chapter here, so she started one. And Laurie warned me. She said, you can try, but Sally does not like to be spotlighted. So I emotionally blackmailed Sally. And my blackmail was, Sally, you've got to tell people what you do. This will inspire somebody else to do something big too. So that played on her.
Thank you so much.
But that is the fact. If you don't talk about the good stuff that goes on in our society, sometimes people are lost. They don't have a purpose. They don't have a cause. They think there is nothing out there. They don't know how to find things. So when they hear and see people like you, they get inspired. They might join the same charity or explore.
Yes.
Because when somebody Googles NCL, I'm sure 10 other charities will pop up too, which are similar.
I think mother-daughter organization, it's the only one I would say that I could find, like if you Google mother-daughters. But it's more of, I just feel like it's a time and period where your kids are growing up and they want a distance from you. But this is a way where I feel like you're kind of homing in on them and you're showing them different philanthropies that you can work with and how to give back to the communities and how privileged they are and we are to have what we have. And there's a lot of people out there who doesn't have what we have.
That is true.
And just making sandwiches or peanut butter sandwiches or turkey sandwiches with them. And you just have a whole conversation. I remember one time we went to Grace and we were volunteering. We had a whole conversation about squash because I guess people were lining up to try to get squash and people didn't want the squash. And we had so much squash left over. And she's like, but squash is hard to cook. I'm like, no, it's not. It's very easy to cook and it's very tasty. And she goes, but you never cooked squash. I said, yes, I did, but you didn't like it. So we had a big whole conversation on how lucky we are to have these opportunities to do different things that we can do.
So the premise is also to do things together.
Yes.
Because that builds your bond with each other. And also, I guess, makes your child realize that how privileged they are and how blessed they are.
Yes.
And when you make simple things like just peanut butter sandwiches, you realize that how often do you make a meal out of it? But it is a meal for somebody.
Yes, it's a meal for some kids. It's meals for some people who are on the go to go from maybe a job interview or they're homeless, and it's just something where they could just save a little bit and they put it away and they eat it the next day. So,
how did you get involved? Were you specifically looking for something that would help enhance the bond or strengthen the bond of you and your daughter? What were you looking for when you found NCL for the first time in California?
When we found it, it was one of my good friends who said, Sally, I think you and your daughter would be great at this. And it was more of an organization where you would have to join as a 7th grade, and then 6th grade to 7th grade. And then basically she was just like, I think you love to volunteer and she loves to volunteer. So why don't you guys do it together? And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So we put it on our application, and luckily we got in. We had some friends who were waitlisted, and when we left California, they were happy and sad at the same time. They were happy that they got a spot, but it's also sad that we're leaving their chapter too at the same time.
So you have to put in an application with the parent organization to start a new chapter.
Not start the new chapter, but be part of a chapter.
To be part of a chapter.
Yes. So in California, so basically NCL is like 437 chapters in the nation right now in the United States, but we're still the only chapter in New Jersey. So hopefully other chapters...
Really?
Yes, and hopefully other chapters will want to join and want to do great opportunities with their daughters. I don't understand Jersey, I really don't understand how... I don't know. It's just I just feel like Jersey is a chapter where I feel like there should be multiple chapters, but there really isn't. We're still the only chapter here in New Jersey.
That surprises me. I did not know that.
Yes.
So this is now Livingston chapter?
It's Livingston chapter, so we border Essex County and Morris County. So we're hoping, I know some chapters like in Paramus try to start. I don't know what the application went through, like how many... how the process is going with them, because she hasn't reached out recently, so I'll probably reach out back to her and see how it's going with her. But right now it's only us in Jersey.
How did you start this chapter? You reached out to the organization and said, well, there isn't a chapter here.
Yes.
So help me get started.
So yes, so basically I reached out to National. They had like a national person help us start the chapter. There are certain criteria that you need, and basically thank you to Lori and her friends, and kind of helped us start the chapter. And so we started one here, and then we looked for philanthropies, and National will give us like 6 philanthropies to start with, and that helped as we tried our local philanthropies that needed our help.
Do you have to have a minimum member requirement?
We do. So we needed 30 like patrons, which is moms, to start.
Okay, and they have to have daughters.
Yes.
Because it's a mother-daughter.
Yes.
What if you... Is there a boy version?
So, yes, there is a boy version in Livingston too. It's called Young Men's Service League, so it's YMSL.
YMSL, okay.
And they're also in Livingston. They started about the same time we did. We started in April. They started in September.
Oh, so they started around the same time?
Yes.
And why is this National Charity League and that Young Men's Service League? Any thought behind that?
I think it's very similar. But instead of mother-daughter, it's a mother-son organization. So, but we have different philanthropies that we work with, and I'm in both of them, and I'm the president for YMSL this year and president for next year also. But it just happens to be that way. And
it's till what age?
For the young men, for the boys, it's from 9th grade to 12th grade. And for the girls, for National Charity League, it's basically from 7th grade. It's a 6-year program. So 6th grade to 12th grade.
Oh, so 9 to 12 for boys.
Yes.
6 to 12 for girls.
Yes. No, 7 to 12.
7 to 12. Okay. Wow. That's
and then it's all the programs that you learn that like the girls also start learning how to run meetings themselves, how to do leadership, like how to be uncomfortable and be comfortable. And during those times when they're in the classroom with their peers, they learn from each other and how to deal with certain things that they might come up, or how to work with each other.
That's fantastic. And talking about making themselves uncomfortable, again, thank you. I took it upon as a challenge when Laurie said, no, try. You can try, but she may not. But same thing is with Laurie too, actually, I feel,
Yes.
because she's doing so much all the time.
Yes.
And she just refuses to sit down and be talked about. But here, you're not talking about yourself in any case. You're talking about what you do.
Yes.
So I deeply respect that, because my thing is, proof is in the pudding. My favorite phrase, proof is in the pudding. So you're always constantly feeding the pudding to people and sweeten their tongue, inspiring them along the way, and hopefully make the world a better place,
Yes.
one action at a time.
Just for the kids, for the kids themselves to learn how to be good human beings. That's how I feel. That's a very important part of how I want to raise my kids, and how I want to, and hope this organizations will give back to the community and show them how to give back to the community.
Not just compete all the time.
Yeah.
Because I think our lives are so fast-paced and driven by competition. And I do remind myself, and I do tell my students also, that it's not about making somebody look less than you.
Yes.
That makes you look bigger. Be the big person yourself, that you are automatically on your own visible without putting anybody down. It doesn't have to be a competition. Life is not a race. Actually, another thing that I say very often is, life is not a competition, life is not a race. We'll all get there at our own pace.
Yes.
So just be inspired, don't be intimidated. So that's amazing. How old is your daughter now?
She just turned 18 and freshman in college.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
So is she pursuing charity in college?
She is. So this is helping her a little bit to try to find organizations that she wants to work with. And she's been doing some stuff, but college kids don't tell you much. So I'm just going to volunteer. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's all we can hope for, right?
Yes.
You teach them the right things, and then you hope that they'll carry it forward.
Yes.
And how does the son take it? Were their approaches different? Did the daughter receive it differently than the son does?
Honestly speaking, my daughter loves volunteering. She's very passionate about what she does. My son, I think he's, okay, Mom, I'll do it. So he'll go, but when he gets there, he loves it. He loves to see how he's giving back to the community, but it's a push to get him there. So it's just like, why do we have to go so early in the morning? Because this is the time where we're supposed to volunteer. And then he'll give me pushback about that. But once he gets there, he's very happy, and to serve, to help, and I think one of his favorite organization is Tony's Kitchen.
Yeah.
In Morristown, I believe. And he just loves helping and seeing how he could give back to them too.
That's amazing. Well, all I can say is you're leading by your example, and you're doing a great job at that. And how does, is there other family members before you, the generation before you, that inspired you to be on this path and to do this kind of giving back charity work and set examples for your children? Or did it just it was your own thing as you were growing up, and you saw something that affected you and you decided to take this path?
I think it's just more of being a teacher and just seeing kids. And I always worked with like the underprivileged kids, and just seeing how they are, that just driven me to be wanting to do this, and like love doing it and wanting to help people. I would say my parents were immigrants, so they really didn't have time. They're basically just working to try to get a meal on the table for us, have a roof on the house for us to live in. And we lived in a project for a very long time before we moved into a house, and they worked really hard to do that for us.
Maybe that's why you value
Yes.
when you don't have that privilege, and you value the struggle and you respect the struggle.
Yes.
So yeah, I think sometimes it's important to have gone through the fire yourself to appreciate. So that's amazing. So see, we talked all about NCL.
Yes.
We didn't talk anything about you. So come on, tell.
No, I rather talk more about NCL.
You are flaunting the t-shirt. The t-shirt is an NCL t-shirt too.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's great. So now I'm a communications coach.
Yeah.
How do you think communication plays a role in what you do with NCL?
It's spreading the word for sure. I'm really hoping other chapters in New Jersey will start. So we won't be the only chapter. So it's more of people getting to know what NCL is about. So I just feel like it's more of spreading the word, doing more. When we go to organizations, oh, here comes the blue shirts. Here comes the girls with the moms. But the boys do the same thing because they're blue too for some reason. We just happen to be blue, and it's just, oh, here comes the boys with the blue shirts too, or the girls with the blue shirts. So it really helps the organization see us too. So I'm just hoping more chapters will start and more people will see how important it is to volunteer. And honestly, as my daughter goes off to college now, I feel like, oh, I'm so glad for NCL because I got the bond with her in the car as we're driving to organizations because she's still on the young side, so she didn't have her license. And most of these kids had their license and she couldn't go off by herself to do these things. But more of how it's important for me to be with her to talk about certain things. And, oh, do you see this person today? You see how he didn't have a coat? And waiting online just to get a peanut butter sandwich or some turkey sandwiches that we brought for Bridges. And she was just like, yeah, it was really sad. I want to do more to help.
Yeah. No, I think as a parent, it sweetens my heart, right? When you hear your child talk like that, you feel like you've brought them up well.
Yeah. I think for me, like I said, I just hope they become good human beings.
Most importantly.
Yes.
That's the only hope for our world.
Yes.
That's amazing. And also the fact that Paramus tried to start a chapter, could not. You were successful in starting a chapter, whether it was through help of friends like Laurie and others.
Yes.
But you were able to connect with those friends, in the first place, for them to further endorse you.
Yes.
So communication, establishing connection, and then building up on relationships.
I think I would have to go back when I moved to town. My daughter was in 8th grade. And my son was in 6th, and we didn't know anyone in town because we just moved here. And I think NCL helped me develop more friendships in town where I get, like, Lori is a great friend now. We call each other, Sally, are you tired? I was like, no, I'm not. And so we just talk a lot, and we talk about other things. And other moms from NCL and YMSL became good friends because of all the stuff that we do together. Hey, let's go volunteer this together, and we end up at the same place together doing things that we're passionate about.
And the beauty is it's friendship with a purpose.
Yes.
And a very philanthropic purpose. Passion, you're putting your passion and your energies behind a very great cause, building relationships on very good foundations. Very clean foundations. It's not that you're seeking some other benefit out of a particular alliance or connection, which most of us end up doing, right? Okay, who serves me how? Friendships with a different kind of purpose.
Yes, exactly.
This is friendship of a very organic, selfless purpose, and spreading the goodness amongst each other in our group, in the group that you're friendly with. Inspiring your generations, the next generations, so that they realize that you connect with people, not with a purpose in mind as to what will I acquire from this relationship, but what can I give in this relationship?
Yes.
Because that is a better relationship, that's a stronger relationship. And when you do something together, you all feel satisfied at the end of the day. You all smile and you all feel proud of the friends that you're with. That you are with the right kind of group.
Yes.
The birds of feather, those kind of birds of feather. I think that's the best one can ask for in our social setup.
Yes, I totally agree. And it's hard. Like when you don't know anyone and you're trying to find a common thread with them. And I just feel like volunteering was one of the things. And we learn so much from each other, how to be good human beings.
Well, yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you for moving from California to New Jersey. Thank you for choosing Livingston to be in. And thank you for starting NCL chapter, the first one ever in New Jersey and in our town. I think you've blazed this beautiful trail that will actually enrich lots of lives, not for the people who are on the receiving end, but people who are on the giving end. And may we always have the capacity to give.
Thank you for having me so much.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank
I truly
you.
appreciate your time.
Thank
you so much. Thank you. This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves. We shall meet again for another episode of OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. Till then, take care.